Section A12 from Cheohee Road on South Carolina 107 to Burrell's Ford Road is approximately 10.4 miles with just under 1,500 feet of elevation gain. This section is truly beautiful. The trail leaves the mountains and descends down into the Chattooga River corridor. There are 3 large designated campsites and numerous smaller campsites along this section. This section of the trail will take you along the very scenic Chattooga River. You will pass several waterfalls as well, including Harvey Falls, Pigpen Falls, Big Bend Falls, and the beautiful King Creek Fall. This area along the Chattooga River is also protected as a wild and scenic corridor under the Wild and Scenic Rivers Act and passes a former homestead from the 1800s.
Alright guys, so the Foothills Trail continues across State Road, South Carolina Road 107, and just goes downhill. So this is the start of section A11, which is the longest, one of the longest sections in day one, and it's 10.4 miles. We're not going to quite cover that. We're going to stop at a campsite around 14 miles in, but off we go. About 6.4 miles. Figured I'd show you a little bit of the trail. So guys, at about 6.5 miles, you'll see a blaze on that tree and some log steps down to a big campsite below. The trail continues up, but I think it also loops back down to it. So this is a nice little campsite. There's a stream, if not a creek, flowing through it. I could hear it from here. So this is a nice large campsite. There's a campsite right here too, and then another, you can put another tent platform right there. So yeah, fire pit, nice little campsite right here at just over 6.5 miles. At about 6.8 miles, come along a footbridge over this little stream. With a little cascade up there. Oh, it's named Harvey Falls, but it's just a little cascade with a little water. Trail in this section, about 6.8 miles, does follow Nicholson Ford Road, and you'll see it below you on your left. Alright guys, at 6.9, almost 7 miles, you come to another bridge, number 8 maybe, 7, to the side trail to Thrift Lake parking lot. But we're gonna go continue on. Foothills Trail. At a little over 7.1 miles. Trail goes this way. There's a little cutoff here. It's a nice little campsite for easily 3 tents and a nice creek streaming through it. That's a really nice campsite as well. And right around the bend, you have bridge Number 8, 9, infinity. I lost count. I'll have to fix it in the edit. Alright guys, at just over 7.5 miles, you come to Nicholson Ford Road. And I've been here many times and I've never seen it empty. Benefits of coming during the middle of the week, I guess. Trail goes up the parking lot. You can see the sign right there. We'll be following along the Chattooga River corridor. Just shy of 8.1, you have this campsite, and you could hear the river from here now, or fork of the river. Maybe I think this is LickLog Creek that you're hearing. Here about 8.1 miles. You come to that campsite, but I wouldn't camp there. I think there's a better one after this bridge. Unless you had to, if this one's full, then you can make do. Here's that bigger campsite I was talking about. Right in there. A couple of tents for sure, easily. And up next is Pigpen Falls. At 8.15, you got another bridge. Okay guys, in about 8.3 miles, come to this intersection of the Chattooga Trail and the Foothills Trail. You can see the Chattooga Trail and the Foothills Trail intersect a little bit. You share one trail. And down there is Pigpen Falls, which I'm about to go down to. And then the trail continues that way. This is LickLog Falls. The sun has come out. That always makes it a better day. So we are about 60% done. Today's hike, done about 8.3 miles. Just left Pigpen Falls. And continuing on. We got a really beautiful section and scenic section of the Chattooga River corridor coming up. It's always really nice. So let's get going. Alright guys, at 8.4, just past Pigpen Falls, you come to these little signs and you got a really nice campsite here. Several tents. There is no camping at the waterfall. And as you can see, you could easily put 10 tents here. A really large campsite. And as you can see, like I pointed out before, going to be double blazing. White is the Foothills Trail. Green is the Chattooga Trail, I believe, or the Bartram Trail. I'm not 100% sure which one it is. It's one of the two. I think that blue blaze on the trail shows that we're descending into the Chattooga River corridor in Scenic way. So, yeah, we're at about 9 miles. A little bit of climb from LickLog. At just about 9 miles, you reach the crest and you start going downhill briefly. And guys, about 9.6. Welcome to this eye on the trail. I think marks the Chattooga Wild and Scenic Corridor. So the trail now joins the Chattooga Wild and Scenic Corridor for about 7 miles. And the trail will run parallel with the Chattooga River. And it's a very scenic section. In 1972, they filmed a thriller, Deliverance, here. So this section of the Chattooga is pretty popular from that. And while the movie did pretty well, Appalachian people in this area, in Appalachian Mountains, did not take too kindly to the movie, because it really reinforced some really bad stereotypes about the Appalachian Mountain people, as they're backwards, inbred, dangerous. So yeah, and apparently they then did a kind of a documentary about how that movie really hurt Appalachian Mountains perception across the world. Wow. Apparently, about 20 years later, they did a documentary interviewing a bunch of locals about how the movie really had a negative impact on them and how it reinforced false or really terrible stereotypes about it. So, say, you got their feelings hurt a little bit. But, alright guys, so we just did over 10 miles. Here to show you a little more of the trail. And over the next, about half a mile, I want to say, the trail is going to descend down to the river, the Chattooga River. Then it's going to follow it for about 5-6 miles. And about 10.5, you continue your descent, and you're just above the Chattooga River. At 10.9, you have a little right off the trail. Trail goes up right there. You got a little bit of sandy area, a nice little view of the Chattooga. At 10.9 miles, you have the Sims campsite, Sims Field campsite. So you got a campsite over here, and you have another one further down here. And your water source is the Chattooga River. Alright, as you guys can see, this is Sims Field campsite. And it's got its name from some early inhabitants, the Sims family that came here. They're early settlers, obviously early white settlers, because the Cherokee were here before. But they farmed this rare flat spot. They created a farm and a homestead. Now the homestead's gone, but you can still see kind of where they farmed right here in this flat spot. So the Chattooga River Gorge is a rugged, steep terrain, and it has very few flat spots, and the Sims family found one of those few flat spots and made a homestead here. Eventually the United States Forest Service bought it and called it home. All right, at 11 miles, you'll see a double blaze on that tree. You take a hard right and you keep going. At 11.1, you got footbridge number 9 or 10. And just past that footbridge, I think you have a little sandy campsite here.
It's really nice views.
Another bridge at almost 11.3 miles. Beautiful little stream running under it. Perfect water source. At 11.4, trail continues down that way. You have a steep little descent to a campsite on a sandbar down there, right on the Chattooga River. Looks like a really nice campsite. Just past that last video, not even 0.05. There's another little sandbar here. Probably not enough for a campsite, but some nice views up and down the Chattooga River. At 11.6, you have a nice little sandbar here. Maybe put a campsite up there, tent. Got a nice little whitewater action right there. It's nice and deep, a good swimming hole for the summer. It's really pretty. But the trail does not continue along the sandbar, but instead goes uphill here. At 11.7, the trail starts switchbacking away from the river. Alright guys, so if you climb there for about a mile straight up, decent elevation gain over that mile. Felt harder than it probably was, but at 12.6, you begin the downhill descent back towards the Chattooga River, and then you're going to follow that along for another 2-ish miles. At about 13.1, you have this big rock overhang over the trail, and we begin the descent back down to the Chattooga River. At 13.5, you get some really beautiful views from above of the Chattooga River, and you come to these beautiful stairs. Another bridge. So I got a 3.8 intersection with Big Bend Trail. My campsite is 0.3 miles according to the guide past this. At 13.9. So I'm not sure which one to go by. But I'm going to assume the guide is right. I got 0.3 more miles to go. At about 14.2, come to this little clearing with a rock outcropping here. And if you go up to the right, it's kind of a faint trail. You can see a large campsite up there. All right, over and out. All right, guys, so at about 14.4, the trail's up there. You might see my backpack up there. You come down this little ledge here, down to this rock outcropping and jump sail to the river. And you get this beautiful, beautiful view. Very cool. At about 14.5, the trail takes a sharp right turn along the Chattooga. There's a little flat spot here for a little campsite. No fire ring. It's a little flat spot. Definitely saw someone put a tent there just by the way it looks. And there's another campsite right here. Here's something that goes off to the right up there, some stairs. But I think the trail goes down here. See a blaze down here. So when you get to this place, just follow along the Chattooga River. That might be a high water trail. It is gorgeous here. Into this big down tree, and you'll see some steps just past my last video at about 14.5. Guess I'm gonna go up the steps. Maybe it's a bypass for this tree. I don't see any blazes. It's definitely a trail. Oh, being tall. There it is. There's the blaze. So you start switching back out of the river corridor uphill. About 14.5, 14.6. All right, over and out. Another little footbridge over this little stream that feeds the Chattooga. It's about 14.9 miles in. And the trail just heads along and above the Chattooga River upstream. It's really pretty. About 100 yards past the other one, get another footbridge over another beautiful stream feeding the Chattooga River. And about 15.1, 15.2, you come to this little campsite right off the trail. The trail goes up into the woods there. That way. You got a little fire pit on this little sandbar. Some nice logs they put down for you. It's really nice. At about 15.3, there'll be a blaze right on the trail, and you'll see a side trail down to the river. Put a little campsite there, a little tent if need be. I don't know if it's a fully designated campsite. There's some flat spot near that sandbank right on the Chattooga River. And the trail here begins a little climb. And about 15.6 miles, you come to the intersection of the trail. The Chattooga River continues forward to Burrell's Ford Campground, and the Foothills Trail makes the left here and goes uphill up to Burrell's Ford Road and past King Creek waterfalls. At about 16 miles, you come down to this intersection. The Foothills Trail goes to your left, and you have King Creek Fall, a beautiful 70-foot waterfall to a beautiful little beach area, about 0.3 miles up here. All right, over and out. Alright guys, so I just came from Kings Creek Falls. It was absolutely gorgeous. To me, it's the prettiest waterfall on the Foothills Trail, or near the Foothills Trail I should say. It is about a quarter mile off trail, right before you get to Burrell's Ford Road, at that 16-mile marker approximately where I showed the sign. But it is about a 70-foot waterfall, cascading waterfall, like a shoot and tumbler type waterfall, and it's just really pretty. And at the bottom of it, you have this little U-shaped cove with sandbar where you could wade in the warmer months, not in January when it's just above freezing. Just a really pretty waterfall. It's 100% worth the side trail. Absolutely go to it. You could do what I did, just throw your pack down at the trail intersection and day hike it, and then just hope your pack is there when you get back, which I see my pack. All right guys, over and out. All right guys, 16.1, you got a campsite just past Kings Creek Falls, a little campsite over Kings Creek, and a bridge, number 20 maybe, I don't know, lost count. 16.4, another bridge. Climbing up to Burrell's Ford, the end of section A11. All right guys, we're coming on Burrell's Ford Road. This is the end of section A11. The next section is going to be to Fish Hatchery Road. I think 3.4 miles. The trail crosses this gravel road and goes off that way. That's Burrell Ford Campground right there. In the parking lot, and it's about a quarter mile down that road.